storm Arta forms in the Atlantic.
2 BVIslanders secure prominent positions in the public sector. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Welcome everybody to 284 News. Today is Monday, May 18, 2020. Of course, I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I am Javon Wilson, so happy to welcome you back from another great weekend. But viewers, we're following a very troubled capture on video that saw a man being tased and arrested over the weekend. Now, Kyla, as you can see in the video, police are attempting to apprehend the young man. However, according to police report, the man not only resisted arrest, but in a subsequent video you'll be seeing, you'll be able to identify the fact that he also tried assaulting the police. Now, Kyla, we know in light of what's happening with COVID-19, there's a very strict restriction as it relates to beaches, also with the residents of the territory only being able to use the beaches between the hours of 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. However, again, according to police report, this intervention by police would have occurred just after 1 p.m. on Sunday. Now, viewers, we're sure of persons being caught on both sides of the spectrums as it relates to this issue. There are residents who believe that police were abusing their rights, and Police Commissioner Mr. Michael Matthews continued to support his police officers in their regard to just really support law and order in the territory. However, there are other persons on the other side of the spectrum saying this was police abuse. So, Kyla, we're not sure what exactly happened, but again, in light of what's happening with COVID-19, the police commissioner standing by his police officers as residents are outraged in what happened in this video.
Most definitely, as you said, Javon, there's a lot of speculation on both sides of the fence. We're not sure exactly what took place over the weekend in this video, but that will always be a discussion. Some persons will be on the fence about abuse of power, or some persons might think that it's just the police doing its job. But of course, as we get more information on that, Javon, we will let the viewers know.
And viewers, I'm sure a more detailed report is forthcoming from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. So as soon as that is made public, of course, we will bring it to you. Now, topping our newscast today, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Marlon Penn, within a detailed COVID-related address to the government of the Virgin Islands, is now proposing that the Social Security Board be revised to include unemployment benefits. Honorable Penn said, quote, "Varying concepts of employment insurance program have been talked about for decades in the Virgin Islands. Ideally, such a program should have been long implemented to provide income benefits to unemployed persons in order that they are able to take care of their basic needs." Now, under his new proposal, Mr. Penn said that this measure will prevent us from, quote, "digging into government coffers for unplanned, unbudgeted, and unsustainable social spending, and serve as a means of sustenance in times of pandemic and the natural disasters." Now, within his address, the following were highlighted. Make the necessary legislative changes so that the Social Security Board could administer such a program designed for short-term support of temporary unemployment to no more than 3 months. Pay a maximum monthly benefit equivalent to a certain percentage of monthly salary and subjected to a cap. Seed funding to be provided, 25% by the government and 75% by Social Security, or 100% by the government. The program must be contributory moving forward. Seed funding to be recouped by amortizing over an extended period and deducted from employees. Eligibility limited to persons who have made at least 24 months of statutory contributions during any 60-month period, and administered initially through an existing unit of the Social Security Board, which has vast experience in paying benefits. Now, viewers, since the onset of coronavirus, residents have been calling on the Social Security Board for financial relief. In the initial stages, the board said that they cannot facilitate the request since the current legislation as we know it does not support it. The Premier in response had said that the board reserves the right to suggest legislative changes. However, that was rebutted by board chairman Mr. Ian Smith, who said that the board made legislative suggestions over the years to several governments who were seemingly reluctant to act on it. Now, viewers, more recently, the Premier announced that the government is currently in talks with the Social Security Board to discuss an initiative that promises to bring some much-needed relief to residents impacted by the crisis. As we know it, the board is set to be sitting on some $400 million fund. Now, Kyla, we've been hearing the Social Security conversation probably over the last month or two as it relates to providing unemployment relief to the people of the Virgin Islands. Based on the numbers that were submitted so far to the Ministry of Labor, the Department of Labor, those numbers seem to be just around 1,300, but of course that is only in accordance to what has been reported so far. According to what Honorable Penn and many other experts across the territory is saying, that number could be significantly higher. According to Mr. Penn, 20% maybe within the next coming few months. So we continue to really look at the scope of unemployment in the territory, and one of the common appeals we see going out is that the Social Security Board provides some amount of relief, and this, viewers, is just one of the suggestions on the very detailed statement addressed to the government and the people of the territory as it relates to the opposition's stance on what is considered an economic stimulus plan in light of the fact that government is yet to come forward with one.
Javon, I think the people of the Virgin Islands appreciate the fact that our opposition is heavy at work and basically putting out suggestions out there, letting their suggestions be known, and just basically having a voice in what is happening amid COVID-19. Of course, as you said, this is just suggestions, so we'll have to see what the government comes up with. As you said, we are still awaiting some of those conversations, so we'll just have to see.
We'll have to see indeed, and the government of the Virgin Islands did respond to this letter, noting the fact that within its stimulus plan so far, certain things have been laid out. For example, the laptop initiative, we know that water charges were suspended, and a few other additional measures were already rolled out within the plan. And the Premier said, quote, "We should not rush this. We will not be rushed." And I know the Premier has been saying that for a while, but Kyla, we're still in a very critical position as businesses, as we approach the period where layoff, that 3-month period layoff, the end of that period is quickly closing in on us, and a lot of businesses and a lot of persons are wondering, what is the next step? What do we do next? The Premier, however, said that the first template of the plan has been approved by Cabinet, and shortly, I think by the end of May, that plan should be made public.
Well, we do hope so, Javon. But now, as we move on, so Javon, now over the weekend, announcements were made about 2 locals that have been placed in prominent positions within the British Virgin Islands. For the first time in history in the Virgin Islands, a BVIslander holds the position of Director of Public Prosecutions. Mrs. Tiffany Scatliff Esprit has been appointed as the next Director of Public Prosecutions within the British Virgin Islands. Mrs. Esprit's appointment took effect on May 5th. The appointment was made by His Excellency the Governor Augustus Jasper in accordance with Section 95 of the Virgin Islands Constitution and acted in accordance with the advice of the Judicial and Legal Services Commission. The DPP serves as the principal prosecutor in the Virgin Islands as established by the Constitution and has the overall responsibility for all aspects of criminal proceedings and management of the day-to-day administration and activities of the office of the DPP. Now, Mrs. Esprit was called to the Bar of England and Wales in 2005 and the Bar in the Virgin Islands in 2006. She was inducted into the Chartered Institute of arbitrators in 2015 and received her Master's of Law from the University of Liverpool in 2017. She received a diploma in Human Resources Management, Professional Certificate in Human Resources Management, and a diploma in Workforce Management and Development from Michigan State University in April 2019. She previously served as the Principal Counsel in the Office of the DPP, before her acting appointment as Director of Public Prosecutions following the resignation of former DPP, which you can see here in the picture, Miss Kim Hollis QC in 2019. Then, Javon, last Friday, Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew Foy, confirmed that the next Attorney General of the British Virgin Islands, which is expected to be announced in upcoming weeks, will be a BVIlander. The announcement was made at a contract signing ceremony held last week. As the Premier made the announcement, he also said that he was elate about the news. Honorable Kai Rammer, who was also present at the contract signing, joined the Premier in congratulating the new candidate for the Attorney General post. He said, this is Honorable Kai Reimer, he said, and I quote, "I think this is a great step for us moving forward in this territory in empowering our people so that they can play a vital role in the development of our territory. As the identity of the individual becomes known, Javon, and been confirmed, 284 News will be sure to update our viewers. But we definitely want to extend congratulations, firstly, to Ms. Scatlis Isprit and the new candidate for the Attorney General's position."
And that is the way to go, Kyla. Not only am I happy about Ms. Esprit's positioning, but the fact that she's also a woman, and women continue to push the proverbial glass ceiling in the BVI and beyond. So we just want to congratulate her, and of course the other unnamed positioning that we've seen by the Premier of the Virgin Islands, just really showing that as locals, as Virgin Islanders, persons are more than capable of charging and really taking the lead as we chart the way forward here in the British Virgin Islands.
Most definitely, Javon, most definitely. So viewers, still ahead, Tropical Storm Otter have formed in the Atlantic and is scheduled to hit the coast of North Carolina. And unfortunately, 3 untimely deaths across the territory. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Eco? 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 Everyone is speaking about eco-friendly products. We wanted to take the time to introduce the Eco Island brand. Eco Island is a brand dedicated to providing you with a reliable and cost-effective solution. Eco-friendly products for your restaurant, hotel, bar, office, and home. With takeaway trays, bags, cups, paper straws, cutlery, and cleaners. For more information, follow us at Eco Island 100.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at 284 Media, we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. 284 Media proudly presents its newest talk show, The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, with yours truly, Ron Grant. A show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Don't worry, it's not all about suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a 284 Media production.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Now, a very unfortunate story. The body uncovered on May 13th in Seacows Bay has now been identified as Mr. Kerry Baker, a St. Kitts national who has resided in the BVI for many years. Now, the 52-year-old was notably ill for some time, was discovered dead in his home after neighbors noticed a very strong stench coming from his home. Mr. Baker was well known for his professional tenure at BVI Cable TV. As chief technician, Mr. Baker oversaw all satellites and network programming, optimizing the line amplifiers on the hybrid cable network for Tortola, Anegada, and Virgin Gorda. He also assisted significantly with setting up pay-per-view events and streamlined developments for TV programming for local brands like VITV, HLS CCTV, JTV, and CBN. Now, in light of his valued personal and professional contributions to the territory, the owners, management, and staff of BVI Cable TV would like to extend sincere condolences to the family and friends of the deceased. Mr. Baker's legacy lends significantly to the level of technological advancements we are now able to enjoy, and for that, viewers, we are incredibly grateful. Now, in addition to that, the territory is also mourning the deaths of two persons who died over the weekend. Dead is Mr. Ruel Foy, who was found unresponsive in his Fort Hill residence on May 16th at 2:29 p.m. The BVIslander was just 54 years old at the time. In addition to that, a female was also found at her residence in Virgin Gorda on May 16th and has since been identified as Edis Hazelwood Bell. Now, viewers, the cause of these deaths remain unknown at this time, but no foul play has been suspected. But nevertheless, Kyla, we really see the territory hurting from a series of untimely deaths. We've just had, if we can recap over the last month or so, quite a number of cases reported, and it's quite unfortunate. Definitely a sad reality to digest in light of what's already happening with COVID-19. So viewers, our heartfelt condolences once again to all the families and friends affected. May their souls continue to rest in peace.
Most definitely, Javon, as you said, very unfortunate, and we do extend condolences to all family, friends of the deceased. But also, we want to urge persons to check on your loved ones.
Yes.
To love on your loved ones, because these are unprecedented times. It's really sad, and we definitely reach out to everyone that is hurting during this time. As we move on, Javon, it is that time again. Hurricane season is among us, and Tropical Storm Otto, the first named storm in the Atlantic for 2020. He will be bringing high surf, heavy rains, and strong winds to the coast of North Carolina. Now, as of early this morning, Tropical Storm Otto was churning in off the coast of Georgia and South Carolina with sustained winds of 45 miles per hour, according to CNN weather. The storm, which is moving northeast at 12 miles per hour, is not expected to make landfall. Tropical Storm Otto is forecast to turn to northeast and pick up speed as it heads towards North Carolina, only skirting the course today, Monday, before moving back east into the ocean late tonight, the CNN meteorologist said. Tropical storm force winds will extend outward up to 90 miles from the center. Officials are telling the public to be prepared as the storm is expected to strengthen within the next 48 hours. But the residents of North Carolina is keeping their eyes out for Tropical Storm Otto as the storm is ramping up. This is a quote, Javon, this early season storm reminds us that we always need to be prepared for severe weather. This was rightfully said by the North Carolina Emergency Management Director. Now, Javon, we are constantly reminded that this hurricane season will be above average, and Tropical Storm Otto is the first sign of this, as this storm have formed 2 weeks before the official hurricane season have actually begin. Now, Governor of the Virgin Islands, Governor Augustus Jaspert, reminds us here in the BVI in a statement last week to not become complacent or distracted. He said the preparation is more important this year than ever before, as there is a chance we could face a storm and COVID-19 restrictions simultaneously. So he urges the residents of the BVI to firstly stay informed, update your plans, gather your supplies, secure your space. Finally, consider who in your family or neighborhood might need a little extra assistance this season. Javon, unfortunately, as I said, it is this time again, but we want to urge persons to be prepared because as we see, the first named storm is already among us.
Certainly, Kyla, and this is the message we've been hearing for quite a long time as we approached the hurricane season. Like you said, it's above average this time around, which means that we might be in for some bad weather. So it's not to be underestimated. We cannot be complacent, like Governor Jasper said, in our preparations, but it's just a huge challenge, really, to be able to deal with this in light of what's already happening with COVID-19. So we just trust that governments across the region, especially in the BVI, will continue to chart the way forward. Viewers, we're running out of time, but we're going to go for a quick commercial break and come back with more news.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, you enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay. I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, in the last few weeks, we've seen all too clearly that while COVID-19 can affect anyone, poverty can also increase the risk of contracting it. So you might think that developing countries like the Caribbean are more vulnerable to the disease than any other, but as we can pan across the region, the death toll has been very small compared to regions like Europe, Asia, and North America. Now, in places like Cuba, viewers, the government hasn't changed its message from the start, and that message is don't leave home unless it's strictly necessary. They're also doing door-to-door epidemiology with medical officials going to each home to conduct surveys, which is also helping the authorities to map the state of the town, and anyone showing symptoms of COVID-19 is closely monitored. Cuba, as we know it to date, has confirmed 1,872 cases with 1,495 recoveries. That's astonishing considering the numbers that we're hearing about, and just about 79 deaths so far. But this success, viewers, is similar across the Caribbean. As of May 13th, 2020, St. Lucia has recorded a 100% recovery of all 18 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Mind you, this is happening for the very second time in St. Lucia. In the British Virgin Islands, of course, we have had 8 confirmed cases, but we are so fortunate to have had 6 recoveries thus far, 1 death, and of course, one current case. Now, Kyla, most countries within the region, as we know it, had an early lockdown to ensure that the outbreak stayed within the capacity of the healthcare system. And in some countries, we saw this happening before the first death, and in some cases, even before the very first case. Another plus for us here in the Caribbean is the fact that we have established protocols for Zika and other infectious diseases. And we have also, so far, we have just about 10 laboratories carrying out extensive testing and contact tracing for the novel coronavirus. The Caribbean has also been acknowledged recently by BBC News viewers for its ability to recover from disasters and its disaster management strategies, especially following Hurricane Irma, which wreaked havoc across the Caribbean. Now, although coronavirus isn't necessarily a disaster, or more specifically, it isn't a natural disaster, there were parallels in preparing for it. And so BBC News has recently applauded us as a region in our abilities to save lives in this pandemic. However, viewers, that management comes at a very high cost because nowhere in the world is as dependent on tourism as we know it as the Caribbean. It's the region's economic lifeblood, and now without it, many islands across the region are going under, including us here in the BVI, where we see the tourism industry as a result of our lockdowns being crippled. But as a cautious, gradual reopening beckons, the region's authorities face a very difficult balancing act, and that is trying to push for economic viability while saving lives, which leaves us at a crossroad. And that, Kyla, is the challenge of our times as we consider not just what is going on in the BVI as it relates to the tourism sector, which is one of our main economic pillars, one of two that supports the economy, but across the region, as like we said, tourism is really the bread and butter of the Caribbean. Now, in light of coronavirus and airline travel as well as sea travel being completely shut down, the challenge is, when do we open up? How soon do we do so? And when do we, it's just about weighing health against the economy, and we just have to figure out how to manage it, because at this point, we cannot continue to just simply keep our borders shut.
Most definitely, Javon. As we were speaking about earlier, I think persons are just hoping that we'll have some kind of word from the government sooner rather than later, because as you said, tourism is one of our main pillars here in the BVI, and we cannot be silent about what is next. A lot of persons are out of jobs, persons specifically in the tourism sector, although we know our borders will be open for nationals come June 2nd. We do not know what is to happen after that. So hoping we can have some sort of word pertaining to this. But Javon, you spoke about the Caribbean region, and if I can say so myself, we all know the Caribbean as a region has always been resilient. Our bounce back factor has always been one of a kind, but also we spoke about lockdowns even before first deaths, being very proactive in our approach, because as you said rightfully in the story, the capacity of healthcare in the Caribbean, governments know that we do not have the support and the healthcare that other nations have. So that proactive approach has really helped us as we see lower numbers and higher recovery rates here in the region.
I completely agree with you. What we have is a resilient tourism product and a resilient people, Kyla, and that is what I think continues to push us forward. I think that's our strength as a region, and again, we cannot simply wait. We cannot wait to get back to some level of normalcy, again, as it serves as the bread and butter of the region. Viewers, we are just about out of time. That is it for today's news roundup, but be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com. You can also like us on Facebook at 284media, as well as 284BVI on Instagram, as well as Twitter. My name is Javon Wilson.
And of course, I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. We'll see you again tomorrow as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media. Have a happy Monday, everybody.
Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at 284 Media, we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. 284 Media proudly presents its newest talk show, The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, with yours truly, Ron Grant. A show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Don't worry, it's not all about suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a 284 Media production.